Hey everybody. I don't want to talk about movies or video games today. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to. Because I want to share something a bit more personal because uh, of how little I knew about it. And maybe somebody will find this video and they have the same issue as me. I don't burp. I have never burped in my entire life. I can chug a can of soda. Nothing happens other than if I drank it too fast, I might feel just a little bit bloated. Nothing happens, right? Which in and of itself doesn't sound bad. But what it means is there is a muscle or a valve that's supposed to allow air to escape up my throat that it does not work correctly. And so that air only has one possible way to go, which is I fart a lot. All right, I fart like a comical amount. It's comical to me. It is not comical to my friends and family. Frankly, they're quite sick of it. My friend Russ is convinced that I am just constantly pooping my pants because of how loud the farts are. I'm not, I promise. But that is one of the effects of this condition. Um, actually, I there is a name for this condition that I now know. I can't pronounce it. Um, RCPD. I can't begin to pronounce the actual. It's retrograde something in the larynx dysfunction. I can't begin to try to pronounce it, but it's an actual condition. Um, and the air exiting south is not the best way for the. So I am constantly. There's a constant pressure of air in here. My stomach is constantly like a balloon, always full. Um, I'm 42 years old. I've had this my whole life. It's gotten worse as I've gotten older, though. And it's really started to have an impact on me. In the past couple of years, I started to think I had an issue with dairy or chips and queso in particular. I love chips and queso. It's my comfort food. I would have it almost every day if I could. But I was noticing that when I ate chips and queso, I didn't feel good. And as the years went by, I'm not exaggerating. Having chips and queso would knock me out for 2 days, like laying in bed miserable. Just bloated pressure, and I thought it was the queso. And as much as it pained me, I cut back on the queso. So I tried other dips, still happened. Then I tried the chips on themselves, still happened. Because it turns out the tortilla chips were causing such a rapid buildup of gas. Other things have done this too. Turns out I have no problem with dairy. I can eat chips and queso now if I eat them slowly. I have to be very careful how I eat them and how many of them I eat, but I can still do it. And so, another major thing that happens is sleeping. It's the worst when sleeping. First of all, often there's a croaking, gurgling sound. I can't do it on command for you, but you can slowly feel this sound burble up from the stomach as you're laying in bed. It's an embarrassing sound for a new partner to hear. Also, the sound starts to make me nauseous as I can feel it slowly clawing its way out of me over and over and over again. Most of my nights, I have to sleep on my left side because that relieves stomach pressure. But I have a weak left knee. It's better than it used to be, but it doesn't really like it when I try to sleep on my left side. So almost every night of my life is I lay on my left side to relieve stomach pressure until my knee bothers me enough that I switch to my right side, where I lay until my stomach pressure starts bothering me enough that I have to switch to my left side, where I stay until my knee hurts enough. This is my life. This is how I sleep every night. So that's gotten worse as a result of this. And finally, the final straw happened about a month ago. I put way too much butter on a bowl of popcorn here at home to watch a movie. And I knew it was too much, but I felt like I was just indulging myself. Yes, it's unhealthy. It's going to be disgusting, but in a great way. Um, I spent the next day in bed in misery, just horrendous, miserable pain, sweating, horrible. And then by the early afternoon, I went into the bathroom and I vomited up air. I went for the bathtub instead of the toilet because I don't like sticking my head in a toilet, and I knew I hadn't had anything to eat, so I figured how bad could it be? I didn't vomit up anything substantial. It was air that came roaring out of me, scared the hell out of the dog, scared the hell out of me. Did that 3 times. Instantly, felt great. Until an hour later when the pressure had built up again and I vomited air 4 more times. And that's when I started Googling because nobody likes to vomit. And for me, like, I'd been dealing with the symptoms of this my whole life. That, like I said, that was a line for me, right? Something had to be done. I Googled vomiting air and very quickly found myself in a Reddit group called No Burp, where everybody was sharing their stories of the same thing. And I had no idea this was as widespread and pervasive. And most importantly, I didn't know there was a solution. There's a procedure to help with this. I live in Austin. I think I've been pretty clear about that. I live near Austin, I guess, technically. And I found several comments pointing to a very specifically named doctor in Austin who is apparently like the expert for this in Texas. And I just had an appointment with him today. It took a while to make the appointment, and I don't know why I was hesitant, but I made the appointment and I talked to him today. Great guy. And he basically, we agreed. All my symptoms show it. There's not a test for this, although he did run a camera down my nose and down my throat. I got to see my vocal cords working. That's kind of fun. Essentially, there's a muscle down there that they are going to go in. My appointment is in 2 months. It's going to be done in an operating room. I will be knocked out with propofol for about 20 minutes. Then I'll be in recovery for 20 minutes. All they're going to do is go in there and inject a little Botox into this muscle, which will relax the muscle. Now, what I saw online said 85% of people, this is a permanent fix. You will start burping, which we'll get to in a second because that's going to be a whole adventure too, from what I understand. 15% of people have to go in and have it done again 4 months later. And then again, it's an 85% chance. That is what I read online. This doctor said older people, and I have to be honest, I object to being called an older person at 42. I am middle-aged. I'm not old yet. I'm getting there. Older people have a higher chance of needing a second dose, just as an FYI. And one of the symptoms I could get afterwards for a week is something called slow swallowing, where he described it as, I haven't had this, but he describes it as it feels like the swallow is taking longer and more effort to get down, but that only lasts about a week. So I will be doing that procedure, and I will do another vlog update afterwards to let you guys know how that goes. So between what the doctor said and what I read from people who get the procedure, first of all, everything I read in that No Burp group said if you're thinking about getting the procedure, get the procedure. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Some people were like, I had to do it twice. But nobody regretted it. The doctor, I did ask the doctor, has anybody ever needed it a third time? He said he has done thousands of these. One person needed it done a third time. If that person needs it done again, he's going to switch to a laser procedure that he has done for other topics in that area. So, like, it's not a big deal, and it's a permanent solution. So, what I can expect to happen after this procedure, it's going to be in an OR, but we'll call it a procedure because it is invasive. They're going to shove a needle down my throat. It goes inside of me. That's the definition of invasive. Anyway, they're not cutting anything open as far as I know. First of all, for the first 2 days afterwards, the internet says I can expect strep throat-like symptoms, just very painful swallowing strep throat. The doctor says that's a maybe. It's possible. Go ahead and expect it, but it's not a guarantee. cool, maybe I won't have that. But he says, I will be in your throat with instruments, so it can happen. Then I will start, after 2 days, doing micro burps as air starts figuring out how to come out of me in a new way. And apparently, I will have to learn how to burp, because this is not a skill set I've ever had. And I know that probably sounds ridiculous to most of you, but I've never burped, so I don't know how to, like, control the volume or anything. Everything I read online, people said they figure it out after a couple of weeks. But apparently that first couple weeks, just, burps are going to come tearing out of you, or little micro burps are going to come out of you, and you have very little control over it. I can also expect a significant reduction in flatulence. I'm going to miss them, honestly. I enjoy a good fart, but everybody in my life is going to be throwing a party, and they might not even invite me to celebrate the end of my flatulence, because I can no longer use it against them for my own amusement. So the real reason I wanted to make this video is because until I Googled that, until I vomited air, which was a severe enough experience that I started Googling it and found that no burp group on Reddit, I didn't know how serious a condition this was. I didn't realize how much of my life was around this, how much of how I feel in my own body, how much I feel bloated. I'm 42 years old. This is how I've always felt and functioned. This is normal for me. It's not comfortable. It's not happy. But it's my normal, so, you just go through life assuming everybody feels the way you do, and it turns out I could feel better. So I'm making this video in case there are other people out there who have been dealing with this, not realizing they had options, not realizing there are actually a lot of other people with the same issue, maybe not realizing how bad it can get. Apparently, if you're younger than 25 and you've never burped, maybe go see a doctor about it, because the odds are you can get it knocked out in one procedure instead of possibly two. I wanted to share my story. I have never heard people talking about this, right? I found it by Googling after a traumatic event. Traumatic. I vomited air. It wasn't the end of the world, but it wasn't pleasant. It was unpleasant enough that it spurred me to action. So that's it. I wanted to share some of those details. If you have this RCPD, if you have this RCPD, in fact, there's information in here. It's a newer diagnosis where I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name of this muscle. A particular muscle located at the top of your esophagus is unable to relax in a retrograde fashion, a backward fashion, causing the lifelong inability to burp, chest pain, discomfort, stomach bloating, gurgling sounds coming out of your throat, and flatulence. And then the rest is what I've said. The treatment is a bit of Botox right in there. They're going to put me out. It's supposed to work lifelong. If it's not lifelong, it'll be at least 3 months. Anyway. So I will do at least one more video after my procedure. My procedure's not until July. And I probably won't be making the video until several weeks after that, once I actually really see the benefits. But if you're out there and you don't burp, believe it or not, that's not just a fun little quirky fact about you. It's a medical condition, and you might want to check it out before it gets real bad. Because, and I'm not a doctor and I haven't seen this, but the fear occurred to me. And even the doctor I saw today said he hadn't heard of somebody vomiting air before. I did read, there were other people in the group that had it. That was not just, I'm not a pioneer in the air vomiting field, but apparently it's unusual for symptoms to get that bad. But my thought was, and this is probably just me panicking for no reason, is the next step after vomiting air must be just your stomach rupturing, right? It just has to be. What other step is there to progress to? So I was scared. And so I'm getting treatment. So I will do a follow-up video talking about my experiences with the procedure and after the fact. I hope this video helps somebody to realize that you don't have to feel this way. And this bloating and not burping and farting a lot, and it is a medical condition. And there is treatment for it. So, if this is something that you have, if this is something you think you might have, if this is something you want to read more about, the Reddit No Burp group actually does have a list of doctors that members have gone to that they basically give a thumbs up to. Sorry, my nose is really bothering me after having a camera shoved down it. So I recommend going to check out that group. You can find a list of doctors there. You can try and find a doctor in your area to talk to. And you can find a whole lot of people talking about this issue. It's amazing the relief you feel to find out that you're not alone with an issue. Finding a very active and vocal community about this surprised me with how much comfort it brought me. And I'm not even saying that I've suffered with this my whole life. I've had it my whole life. The suffering is in the past several years, and only under certain circumstances, that if I was a smarter man, I could just avoid certain foods that bring me joy. So I'm not trying to make it sound like, oh my gosh, I'm such a brave soldier. This is an inconvenience that has grown into a substantial inconvenience. And finding out that I didn't have to be that way was a big relief. So I think I'm rambling and talking in circles at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. But I hope this helps somebody. This doesn't have to be your life, apparently, and I will do an update when I have the procedure. I'll see you guys next time.